have this really funny personal theory, starting from when I first arrived in Taiwan for the first time in 1976, in that I felt that Taiwan and I were kind of growing together. You know how people kind of feel like they're growing together with their pets?
Yeah.
I felt that I was kind of growing together with Taiwan because Taiwan was not as developed then. Things were a bit more chaotic, not as clean, but it worked and people were kind.
Yeah.
So I felt that I could feel a lot of my own character flaws, things that I needed to learn to grow up more and do better. It's like as I saw Taiwan kind of fixing some of its issues that you really notice, I was trying to fix some of corresponding ones in myself.
You've been in Taiwan now for like
41 years.
41 now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my last thinking was like 35, 41 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Throughout the years that you've been here in terms of teaching, what would be one of the things that you're most proud of or that you felt that you've given back to Taiwan in terms of your expertise? And
when I came to Taiwan, I was not teaching at that time. I worked for, there were two institutions. The more famous one is 国际关系研究中心. It's the Institute of International Relations. It's connected to 政治大学.
okay.
So I had a boss that I kind of followed around when he got promoted. I was brought along for English translation and writing, editing work. So I worked there, and then he moved to the 新闻局, to the GIO, Government Information Office. So I followed him there. And I think one of the things that really stands out was I got a call in the evening one day, and they said, Karen, go to the office. I go, what? I said, what's going on? Has the mainland attacked? And they said, well, 不知道, just get to the office.
Yeah.
So I hurried up and got to the office in the evening. It was around 7 p.m. And Jiang Jingguo had just passed away.
Oh.
So we had a lot of documents to translate his will, his public will to the people, you know, telling everybody to keep working harder and work for the homeland and all that other stuff. So we translated his will together, and Li Denghui was also going to take office, so we needed to translate his speech, his inauguration speech, basically. So we had 4 main documents to translate, all having to do with the president passing.
Wow.
So that's what we did. So we were kind of part of history.
Yeah. From your eyes as a foreigner during that period of time, because I can't remember exactly when martial law finished, but what was, in your mind, the attitude of what people were like during this transition period?
That is a story worth telling, because that was during my time at the Government Information Office. And I never felt that Taiwan was a really unfree place or anything like that. The only thing is you knew your boundaries. You knew that certain things you just didn't touch on. That was about it. As just a foreigner living here, you wouldn't get involved with certain political movements or whatever. You just had to know your boundaries. So I didn't feel it interfered with my life at all. About martial law, that was lifted while I was working at the Government Information Office. So before it was lifted, I didn't really feel the restrictions in any particular way. My husband at the time, his family was from the mainland, and they had a son in the mainland. They stayed in touch with him through Hong Kong. So you found ways around the kind of restrictions that they had. But when martial law was lifted, things changed really fast. And that was before the death of President Jiang Jingguo that I just described, because he knew his time was coming soon. He wanted to leave a legacy. So he started changing things by the day. Martial law was lifted. That was the beginning. Newspapers in the past could only have 6 sheets. Now there was no restriction. You could make a newspaper with as many pages as you wanted. Every single day there was a totally shocking thing that happened. So I couldn't wait to get home and read the newspaper. What happened today? Starting from today, you can call the mainland directly. Oh, you're kidding. That was, all of these things were a shock. Every day was a new shock. So it was like the most exciting period that I've lived in Taiwan. It wasn't just political, because at the same time, there was a renaissance of the arts. So I like world music. At that period, I was buying new music every week. It was cassette tapes then of traditional bamboo flute music
Yeah.
or of songs in Taiwanese or whatever it was. You know, pop songs in Taiwanese used to be kind of corny. Now they were becoming modern and interesting.
Oh.
And on television, they had so many interesting variety shows. One with Fang Fang, if you've heard of her. She was this she's still around, extremely talented actress. She could dress up as a man and portray different characters as, you know, in a male voice. She could imitate any voice. She came up with the most biting political satire you could think of. And Taiwan was really ready for that. They were open for that. They accepted it. So everything just came out of the woodwork, and people were creating. Wasn't just criticizing the government, it was just this blossoming of culture. It was an amazing period to be living in. So I watched television every night just because of this, you know, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It was a Taiwanese version with their own style of Saturday Night Live. It was just as good or better.
Wow.
It was so good. And so at that period, everything was just, you know, there was fireworks with everything. So that's why it was so exciting. The whole culture just sort of like blossomed overnight.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing it from a foreigner's point of view because, I mean, like I said, I didn't grow up here, but, you know, now I'm thinking, oh, I should ask my sisters what it was like for them, what the difference is comparatively.
I keep telling my kids, ask your parents what it was like before that period, during that period, and the difference then and now. And a lot of parents will say, oh, I don't want to talk about it, but you will find so many things. And the problem is kids now, they live such an easy, comfortable life and free. They take it all for granted. They think Taiwan was always like this. Yeah, Taiwan's a great place. It wasn't always like this.
Yeah. You've been here in Taiwan for so long. How do you feel like Taiwan has changed you as an American, or has it changed?
Basically, I have this really funny personal theory, starting from when I first arrived in Taiwan for the first time in 1976, in that I felt that Taiwan and I were kind of growing together. You know how people kind of feel like they're growing together with their pets?
Yeah.
I felt that I was kind of growing together with Taiwan because Taiwan was not as developed then. Things were a bit more chaotic, not as clean, but it worked, and people were kind.
Yeah.
So I felt that I could feel a lot of my own character flaws, things that I needed to learn to grow up more and do better. It's like, as I saw Taiwan kind of fixing some of its issues that you really notice, I was trying to fix some of corresponding ones in myself. And by now, Taiwan is a very together place. I don't care what you say, just the MRT. People love the MRT, but that isn't the only thing.
Yeah.
Taiwan is just together. I mean, the whole bureaucratic system is fast and efficient.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the 70s.
Yeah.
People would be arguing at the counter because they forgot a document, man. They make it clear before you arrive, and then if something's missing, they'll say, well, actually, you could use this instead, or you can come back tomorrow. They'll be nice. They're friendly. They'll give you a cup of tea to drink while you're watching the TV, waiting to get something done, but you probably don't have to wait because it gets done fast. Taiwan is so together, more than the average European country.
Yeah.
Things work very slowly in France and Germany. You think Germany is really together, man? They're so slow and so bureaucratic. In Taiwan, it gets done within a few hours usually, normally. So in many ways, Taiwan is not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm more together than I used to be. That's how I feel. And I feel that since we've kind of grown in tandem, I still feel like I fit here.
Wow. Do you have plans to go back to the States, or is Taiwan here your home and this is where you're going to stay?
The latter. I haven't been back to the States for more than 10 years. Yeah.
More than 10 years?
More than 10 years. Yeah.
And why is that? Because you travel, right? You do travel. So,
so if I travel, I'm spending time and money and effort. I'd rather go to a place I don't know. I know pretty much what the States is like. I was there a long time.
Right.
I'd like to go see a new place. That's the reason.
Now that you're older, you said you're planning on staying here. You've already retired.
Though I do teach part-time.
Oh, you do still
Yeah,
teach
I have one
part-time.
class.
And you're busy doing your startup also. So it's not necessarily that we would see it as totally retired, because I feel like people's perceptions of older people sometimes are quite different.
That's right.
And
That's right.
when you're a certain age in the West compared to a certain age in Asia, it's different. So do you have any thoughts about where you are at this point in your life and what you've done in terms of aging and
How much
being
time
in
is
this
left?
process?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I feel the same inside. I think any old person will tell you the same thing. You feel the same person inside that you were when you were in grade school or when you were in grad school. I don't feel any different, and I've been blessed with not having terrible, terrible diseases, which some people get.
Yeah, yeah.
That can change at any time, I realize. But my impression is that as long as you act energetic, you don't act frail, and you color your hair, and you don't look extremely old, people will just treat you like anybody else.
Yeah.
That's been my experience. I'm guessing maybe it's the same with you. You're not as old, but
You'd be surprised.
yeah. But see, as long as you're energetic and you're doing stuff and you're interacting with people like you always have, age doesn't usually even come up.
Yeah.
It comes up when you start looking frail, and then you start feeling sorry for yourself or whatever. When it starts showing, then people do notice. So I think obviously our bodies are older, and we have to be careful. We have to be really careful about diet and staying active, exercise, and all that stuff. But assuming that our bodies are cooperating, it's not an issue until it stops cooperating.
Yeah, it's really a lot to do with our mind and how it works.
Yes.
And I always feel that if you're learning something, which
Yeah.
I am a proponent of every day,
Yes.
that it keeps that mind young or going.
That's right.
You did bring up the thing about as long as we dye our hair.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of going natural? Because I've always just thought of that for a very long time, but I just haven't done it yet. But
Not
is that
ready yet.
something? Yeah.
Not
so
ready yet.
It should be until we're ready, right? It's not a...
It's mainly
You know?
because of the judgment of other people. Because once you go completely natural, it's out there in the open. You can't hide it anymore. That's what you
Yeah.
are. And then they will start changing how they treat you. And I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
I need to squeeze the maximum I can out of this time and health and energy that I have.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to be distracted like, oh, can you carry that? Let me carry that.
Just because you have white hair, even though, your body looks and you're walking fine, right? It's that image or it's that perception, right?
I lift weights, man.
Yeah, So neither one of us are ready for that.
No.
And then the other thing is that you are single.
Yeah.
And is that something that you're really happy with? Do you ever think about having another relationship in terms of getting married or anything like that?
Oh, marriage is probably definitely not in the cards.
Yeah.
But I think I forget about it because I'm so used to living alone. I have been living alone now for over 30 years, and it is a given.
Yeah.
It's just a given. So it's what I'm used to. When I see people arguing about how loud the music should be, I go, oh,
You don't have to deal with it, right?
my kids are grown, And with my kids, like one of them was kind of rebellious, one day said, Mom, I'm sorry and thank you. So they find out, they have a saying in Chinese about once you become a parent, you finally know what it's like.
Yeah, it's
So-
not even only in Chinese,
It's
English
everywhere,
too. It's
yeah.
like when you get older, you know what I was talking about, you know what I was talking about.
Yeah, and then they start talking like their mothers. And yeah, so it's already been over 30 years. So it's great. Life is good. And I think the main thing is, like I said earlier, what we want is connection. And I'm always really kind of tending that as connections, like with you, like having this opportunity is a great chance for connection with the people that you meet through your workshops and your teaching and your acting. Those are all wonderful connections that you have. And I'm guessing you really value all of those.
Yes.
Because that's what's making life fun.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry if somebody said anything about getting old. You don't even think about getting old, probably because you're having too much fun.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't go to bars or anything like that. But fun is
not fun.
fun is a different, it's a
not
different perspective
fun.
too.
Man,
Exactly.
It smells. No.
Yeah.
Fun on our own terms.
Yeah.
And as long as we have that, who's even thinking about age?
Exactly. If you enjoyed this conversation, please like, share, and subscribe.